Welcome to Just Curious Media. This is Let's Talk Cobrakai. I'm Jason Connell.
And I'm Sal Rodriguez.
All right, Sal, we are back with another episode.
It's good to be back. I feel like it's been way too long. How long has it been?
It's about a year and a half. No,
it has.
A week or two, but hey, it happens.
I feel like when you and I take a week or two off, I feel like a month has gone.
Yeah, it's like dog years.
Yeah,
it is like dog time. It's like, wait, when was the last time we were in studio? I agree with you, but I'm happy to be back because I recently experienced something and I want to share. I want to share.
Yes.
We on the right show? Yeah, this is Let's Talk Cobrakai.
Yes, it is.
I discovered something after we had a great episode on Let's Talk Movies about Jaws.
Yes.
Jaws franchise volume 1, and we've already recorded volume 2 where we delve into all things Jaws, the movies, just the genre, the power that Jaws, collectibles that you have. But I discovered something when we were doing that episode, and that is the audio description feature that Netflix and Amazon Prime and Apple offer, that you can listen to a movie with a narrator, but you're also listening to the movie. And I experienced it with Jaws, my favorite movie of all time. I delved into it, and I was like, am I going to experience this differently? Am I going to enjoy this? The narration was really good. It doesn't get in the way. It complements the movie. So I walked away, didn't watch anything, just listened. And I was really astonished of how it felt. Like, wow, it makes you really listen and focus. And so then I did Jaws 2 just because we were so wrapped up in Jaws. And then I started looking through my nearly 500 digital movies on Apple and growing. And I was like, The Karate Kid. Because not every movie offers this, Sal, the audio description. And The Karate Kid did offer it, and so do other Karate Kid movies, by the way. But I did the first one just today, and I was like, wow. Walked away from the screen, listened, made a few notes, because it really makes you just hone in on some things that you've always heard, but really that's all you have to go on, and you're like hearing it for the first time in a lot of ways. It's interesting. I want everybody to do this.
But
I'm
Jason,
pretty sure. Yes.
When you say that you just experienced this, what you mean? Like you watched The Karate Kid on Netflix and they had that option? Is that what you mean?
Well, I'm pretty sure if the movie's on Netflix now, that's the problem with Netflix. It's a revolving door. So I'm building my own digital library. And if you do buy it on Apple, it does come with it. That option's there. Okay. But I've read that movies on Netflix and all their original shows are offering this, because it's not just for me.
Yeah.
It's for visually impaired.
Sure.
It's also for people who just love this type of thing. But that's really where it kind of started. And now it's, I think, growing to people like me who is like, oh, wow, we like audiobooks, we like podcasts. I want to listen to this movie with this narration on there. It fills in the blanks, because if you know the movie, you're going to follow along just fine.
Yeah.
But if you don't, or if you want to like listen and really kind of, I don't know, it assists. It's a nice assist. And so I was not turned off by it, and if the narration's really good, it's not a distraction. It's nice, and so and they don't talk the whole time, by the way, and they're not over talking they're not conflicting with or competing with the dialogue in the movie. So it's like, oh, this is really clever. I want every movie to have this option for visually impaired, or in just any reason. So I think it's great. For any lover of a particular film or show that has this as an option, I say try it. So I'm going back to movies that I really love. I think other people would get a lot of benefit from that as well. Don't just pick some random movie or show, but something you really care about. And you've watched it so many times, it's like, oh, this is just another chance to watch it again, listen to it again, hear it again, and just you perk up. Like your hearing senses have gone up a notch or 5 because you're visually not in the game. I can't see Daniel and Johnny and Allie and Mr. Miyagi, so I'm just hanging on their every word. And I think I walked away going, wow, that was enlightening. So I want you to do it, right? And then I want other fans to do it, and just experience it. And I'm going to do the second movie. I know it's on that. And the third movie could be a lot of fun for other reasons. And I don't know if the next Karate Kid is available to do so, but if it is, I may do that just for laughs.
Well, slow down. I'm just gonna take it, movie by movie.
Start with the first one.
I will tell you that I will make a vow that I will watch this movie, first movie, audio description.
Or listen
subsequent movies, I don't know, or listen to it. Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Are we at a point now where basically people can listen to their favorite movies without necessarily watching their favorite?
Well, that's the whole point for me. You could sit down and watch it and have this be your assist, but I was purposely put it on my phone, put it in my pocket, and treated it like a podcast or an audiobook. That's how I did Jaws.
Were you on two or a single earbud? Two earbuds or a single earbud?
Well, actually, it was a little bit of both. No, I usually go two, or I had it on speaker in my house.
Okay.
Does that make sense? In the office or the studio as I was doing something like I would a podcast. Sometimes I just go off the speakerphone, or I put the earbuds in of audio. Here's the quick definition of audio description.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Audio description is an optional narration that describes what is happening on screen, including physical actions, facial expressions, costumes, settings, and scene changes. And that's where it helps. It's not like a distraction. They're not trying to speak for these people, but every once in a while they'll not interrupt, but they'll bring their voice in and add one of these elements. Not always, because that would be distracting. So when they deem it like, okay, now it's been long enough, let's set the stage. I'm fascinated because someone's writing this, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen, and you've got to get the script, and that's really an interesting thing. And we're podcasters. It's like, I'd like to be part of the production on some of these. That could be a lot of fun. Okay, Jason, what do you think here? And go ahead and narrate. I'm like, wow, are they doing this now? They're going back in libraries and rolling this out.
Well, you know what? I could imagine that there could also be different versions. Let's say if they said to you, Jason, write the audio description for Karate Kid. Then they told Sal Rodriguez, write the audio description. And then we come back and they may be different.
That's true. I don't know if they're doing a lot of that. They're probably, or someone else is writing it and they're just handing it off to the people to read it. Right?
But I mean, conceivably, there could be different versions.
Yeah. And they probably have, I'm pretty sure they have a system.
Yeah. Well, I think I think they have
long.
They have an official version.
Yeah.
But I could see where this could wind up at some point, since this is new, right? This is a newer thing.
Well, in recent time, I never even thought about it. It's been around for a few years.
Okay, I like it a lot. I'm new to it, and I really think that this could just grow. This could grow to the degree where I think you maybe have fan-made audio descriptions happening. If that hasn't happened already,
Mr. Science Theater.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily have to be comical.
Commentary.
In fact, I was thinking how this would work in the world of comedy. For example, let's say a character walks in dressed like a banana, then the description says, Sal walks in dressed like a banana. That's what it would say. They would literally say the visual punchline.
Yeah. Annoyed teenager rides with mother from Sedona to California.
Yeah, I like it.
Whatever. But not over their dialogue. It's just enough. So I'll do an example like we did on Jaws.
Yes.
You can get a sense. I love the accent for this one. It's a British accent, female British accent, which is great.
A female British accent is doing the narration for the Karate Kid audio description?
You had me there.
What?
I was like, yeah, I'm not even kidding. Daniel, no. So this is the Karate Kid 1984 audio description. That's this episode. Some takeaways that I've dealt with, that I walked away with, also my experience, and, just talking about the movie, an excuse to come back with a new lens or new hearing. And I'm going to bring the poster up because I need to. There it is. The classic movie poster. And I think one thing that hit me this listening, I keep wanting to say viewing, but this listening, this visitation, this me going into the Karate Kid and doing this, I really hung on just one huge factor, which we already know. We know this, but it's a reminder what this movie is and what makes it so timeless, right? It's a story of loss and love, honestly. And karate aside, And I love martial arts and all that and the fun things that spun out of it and became Cobrakai. But that aside, it's really what Mr. Miyagi, how he represents the father Daniel lost, and Daniel is the son that Mr. Miyagi never had. And that's it. Like, that's why everything else around this universe works. Do you agree?
No, yeah, you're getting deep, man.
Yeah. I mean, it was powerful.
Yeah.
When I was listening to it this time, I was like, golly. Like, yeah, you know, sometimes you just have magic. Certain bands have magic. Like, this got this guy, this, you know, not very often do you have bands that are full of all-stars, right? Like, oh my God. Like, and then other bands just try to become famous. Well, they got the right kid, the right actor, you know, and ralphmacchio and patmorita at the right time, and their chemistry is real. It's real. It's you know, tangible. And these characters are real. Thank you, Robert Mark Kamen, and of course John G. Avildsen, who has this tender touch in Rocky. You know, no surprise, pulls all the strings. But we can get caught up in that and just fly right through it and talk about martial arts. But it's like, oh no, man, this connection is like, it's never going away. And it's what the other subsequent movies didn't have, Sal. Now, part 2 had some heavy stuff. The fight at the end is for your life. And Mr. Miyagi loses his father, and he has that scene where he breaks and is crying and can't talk to Daniel. Devastating, the heartstrings. But some of the other stuff was Sato's one note, Chosen wasn't that complex, and therefore I think it doesn't really hit the same highs. This movie does. And of course, hey, Elisabeth Shue, Allie, what a great actress. So you sprinkle her, and it's like you realize how good these people are. Randee Heller, her moments. And of course in the cobrakai stuff and martinkove and williamzabka and all that, great. But anyway, the heart of it is, it just came through. And I was just listening, and I was even hearing new little nuances between Daniel and Mr. Miyagi. So please do this, Sal. I know you don't own it on Apple, but let's check the other platforms, and most people probably do not. Although it does go on sale sometimes for $4.99. And hey, you'll buy a coffee, buy this movie for $4.99, and it lives in the cloud for you. So anyway, that's my take, and we can jump in. But of course, please. That's my soapbox. Anything you want to add?
I was just going to ask you, Jason, I mean, you're speaking so highly of it. Are you implying, it almost sounds like you're implying that the audio description now has you appreciating even more, appreciating the movie more, appreciating the characters even more? Like the movie's now enhanced because of something like this.
True. I think so. Now, I think a big part of that is I've picked out 2 movies that I love, right?
Okay.
And when you love something for as long as we have, like me for Jaws goes way back to my childhood. The Karate Kid is right after that, several years, but it's after that. And it's a chance to it's almost like John G. Avildsen said, hey, here's that special version, that special cut of Karate Kid. We're always wanting a little bit more. Like, here's something new to chomp on and enjoy. Yes. So I almost feel like it's a little bit of that.
Yes.
With the audio description,
I wonder what the Star Wars fans will think of it.
Well, that probably has it too. And again, it's not necessarily that, hey, that audio description made it so much better. It's that I'm experiencing it different. Mm-hmm. I'm just closing my eyes and just listening. Now, I happen to be a podcaster. I do post-production on audio. I'm very in tune with audio. So it just made me almost close my eyes and listen and go, wow, okay, I'm really into this movie. It's in a different way. That's all.
Nice.
Appreciate it in a different way.
You sold me, man. I'm anxious to hear it. I'm anxious to
try it. You like to clean and listen to things and do other things and not just be a passive viewer. And this allows you to do that. Now, you could have easily just put the movie on a phone or on a TV and walked around and not looked at it. Sure. But then the description kind of just gives you like, oh, that's interesting. And their take on something might be like I learned a couple of things today. It's like, oh, that's what they call that. So it's just little nuances, and I appreciate it. And hey, who knows? Maybe Just Curious Media will roll out some of these movie descriptions, audio descriptions, I should say.
I would maybe look forward to one day trying to tackle a property or a license myself.
Let's do it. Or let's just do it illegally. We'll do our own.
No, it would have to be most likely a fan-made thing. But
yeah,
I mean, look, let's face it. They're not, even if this took off, even if this really took off, they're not going to do every movie, right? So we can do whatever movie we want that hasn't been done. We could just be like,
let's beat them. Let's beat them.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm going to do Citizen Kane. I'm going to do it.
So I'm going to give you a little taste in a second, because I'm going to go this isn't beat by beat. These are just little takeaways, things I heard and talking points for us. I planned this episode to be so long, it'll probably be double that because we already just talked for a long time, but it's exciting. So yes, it's a British accent, female. It's fantastic. Great voice. Now, early in the movie, Daniel is in Newark, New Jersey, as we all know. But little lines like this, him in his car with his mom, they're pulling away, and you hear, this is Daniel. Bye, Judy. Katie, I'll be back soon. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it just makes you think as a lover of the movie, the franchise, now that we follow the franchise, you and I and all of our fans and everyone else, Cobra Kai fans, who is Judy and Katie? Are they ever going to mention Judy and Katie again?
They'll be in season 6 of Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I'm just like, there could have been a throwaway line for Judy and Katie. Yeah. But it just gives you like, wow, that's right. Daniel had a life. Before we came in on him, it's a reminder that Daniel had a life. They lived in Newark. He lost his father. He has friends. I know it's a movie, and they weren't thinking of these things when they made the movie. They shot in 83, comes out in 84. They're not thinking, well, what will people reference? No, they're just making a movie, and hopefully it's good. But I just love these little things that Daniel clearly says, and there is a character that we'll never know, or we don't know yet. 2 characters at that.
Yep.
And then I swear to you, because I'm pretty astute on voices and voiceovers and ADR work, pretty sure that Lucille, played by
Randee Heller,
I think they relined a few of her lines by someone else. I know. Wait,
someone
her
else?
voice.
Someone else did her voice, or she did her own voice in studio?
They're driving in the car, heading off from Newark to California, and I swear a couple of lines, one in particular. I'm not going to cue everything up. I encourage you to go listen to it, but she says, this isn't exactly a dump we're moving to, Okay, I'm just giving you the dialogue. I'm not trying to do her accent.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, she talks before, after. We know what she sounds like. And it was like, oh, that's someone kind of in the range, but not her. And I'm just telling you, Sal, you know how movies work. It's like, we got to get this line dubbed.
Yeah.
They get someone, boom, boom, boom. No one notices. You move on. Sure. But when you're just listening and you notice a difference, it's like, yeah, something was off there. So if we ever have Randee on the show, I'm going to ask her. We'll ask her.
Play the line. Was that you?
Was this you? I wish you could do like a Sound Hound or Kazam for voices. Not Randee Heller. This is nice. Another actor.
Yeah. Can AI identify if that isn't the real voice? Yeah.
And it happens all the time. Listen, when I listen to audiobooks, it's like they don't do an audiobook in a day. Especially like a 23-hour, 30-hour. And I can tell you
can hear the cut.
Different days. Yeah, or I can tell different days like, their voice sounds different now. Oh, they have a slight, twinge or some sniffles. Sure. But you notice immediately, or I do.
Yeah,
so if
you're
I
like,
can
something
tell
sounds
that,
different. I hope their marriage is okay. There's something in their voice.
Well, I don't usually go there, but okay. So here's a clip to give you a sense of what the narrator sounds like, what this whole new thing looks like.
I'm ready,
and also,
man. I haven't heard this
before. It's a great
before.
moment. No, you have not. It's a great moment because they're rolling up to one famous apartment complex in Reseda on
Satakoy.
That's right. We've both been there many a time.
Oh, yeah.
And Quiver in the Heat. Produced by Jerry Weintraub. Directed by John G. Avildsen. 3 tall palm trees huddle behind telephone lines. Below, the station wagon pulls up outside a building, emblazoned with the words South Seas.
Daniel, wake up! Look off the starboard bow. Paradise at last. Oh, we made...
All right, so there's not really much more right there, but there are more scenes coming. But good sound, right?
Well, I got to tell you, Jason.
Yeah.
Is the narrator credited anywhere?
Not in the movie, but they do say the name
like
of the
anywhere
company.
in any materials.
They just say their name at the end. They credit the company and the narrator's name at the end of the movie.
You think it's a real person, or do you think it's AI?
They had a name.
Really?
And it wasn't AI. Now, I've heard men, I've heard American accents, I've heard other, accents. So it's a wide range, and they are banging these out, so to speak.
I only say that because AI is exploding right now, and the AI voices are exploding. So my only
could be.
I just there's a little bit of tension in me because I like this concept a lot. It bridges a gap. I think it bridges audio and video, turns movies into audiobooks almost.
Yeah.
I think it's great. But I mean, is this just going to be a bunch of AI voices doing the narration? I hope not.
Let me read. Here's the name of the artificial intelligence.
No, middle name and Telly.
It's like young Frankenstein. Happy normal.
No, it's Art.
No.
First name Art.
Yeah, Art official. No, so I don't know, but throughout the whole movie, but you get a sense of it.
Sure.
It's not annoying. Even if it is AI, I don't know, Sal. I hope it's not. I hope it's a real person. There's not a lot of inflection, so I would probably do it differently.
Yeah.
But, maybe that would be a distraction. It's trying to be really just setting the stage for what's coming. But there you go. That's a sense of it. It's not this episode's not just about the narration. It's about the experience of listening to a movie with or without it, and just what you're picking up on without
but
the
I
sense
did
of
see right away.
visual.
Here's what I noticed right away. It's like you said, it's like the narrator's voice, listening to the narrator's voice then has me listening deeper to any other sounds, including the other voices. So all of a sudden, Randee Heller just really jumps out at me unlike ever before.
Exactly. That's my experience too. Yeah, the narration's like, I'm not grading it. I'm just saying, hey, this helps, but now I'm focused over here.
Yeah.
That's all I'm getting at. Now, had I tried out for this one, that scene's where I would have lost the job, because I would have said, and they roll up to the 7 Seas apartments, and then and I'm out, and then AI's in. So I thought that was because she says
not 7 Seas, not 7 Seas.
The South Seas in Bolden I would have screwed that up right away. I got a kick out of that though, so it's making fun of yourself. Also interesting that Randee Heller gives a lot of boating references. And now that, my office and studio is in Newport, it's a very seasidey boating community. I'm getting more into boating and learning about sailing. And anyway, so I hear her like, what if she rolls up like, the starboard bow, right? All hands on deck. Let's unload this before it sinks. I'm like, I never even noticed that before, or it just went right over my head. But now I'm focused, and she's making all these boating references, which is
so now
fun. It's in the writing.
So now I'm thinking, did Randee grow up as a mariner? Maybe her father was a boatman.
The grandfather could have been her ex-husband. Daniel's father could have been.
Not ex.
Little things. Her husband, her widow. She's a widow. Her late husband could have been a boater. We don't know. It does plant a seed. So we're going to quickly, it's broad strokes. So I thought that was interesting. And if you agree or have other comments, please jump in. There's no real path here. I just don't want to spend forever on it. But just takeaways. Now, I thought it was funny, and we talked about this before, that Freddie wants to learn karate after getting knocked over by Daniel, who kicks the door, which you couldn't see through, but now we both know you can now see through the door because it's mesh, it's steel, and you can not kick someone unless you want to. But I'm curious, Sal, after All Valley and Daniel's the victor and Freddie's there with the other friends who dissed him at the beach, and I listened to this, it planted the seed when he said this. Yeah, I want to learn karate, so did Daniel teach him later? Did Freddie come back around to apartment 20 later, post Karate Kid, pre the next Karate Kid, or not the next Karate Kid, but the Karate Kid Part 2? And did he actually teach him? Probably not, but he did say he wants to learn it. So
he could come back in season 6, and we will have learned that, sometime between Karate Kid and Cobra Kai season 6, Daniel did indeed teach Freddie karate.
Or Freddie learned somewhere else.
What if Freddie comes back on Cobra Kai?
He should. He should be at a competing dojo by now.
Yeah.
Hey, Karate Kid. He did coin the phrase, hey, the Karate Kid. So well done on you, Freddie. All right, so skipping ahead again. When they're on the motorcycles, the Cobra Kais, right? And they're overlooking, Allie at the beach, Daniel, soccer ball, talking to, Allie, that first encounter. And they're kind of like, bugging Johnny, like, hey, look, who else is, look who's talking to your lady. So someone says, maybe it was Bobby, but whatever, Ace Degenerate, okay, which was also the name of the first episode of Cobra Kai, Ace Degenerate. But Johnny says X Degenerate. He corrects him. Now, we know this, but it's so easy to fly right through that because we're focused on the movie. And I was like, wow, it's cool. He does say ex-degenerate. He's not drinking beer. He's going to make it all work. His senior year, he's going to make everything work. It's like, what? So he was a partier. He had Allie. He lost her. And now he's going to just have this great senior year where everything works. Not going to drink beer, and he's no longer a degenerate. Interesting. Because the last time I watched the movie, he bullies young Daniel for most of his senior year, and finally redeems himself by giving him the trophy at the end. So I love that his plan was quickly derailed the minute Daniel entered his life, which is literally like 30 seconds later.
It's like a New Year's resolution. He couldn't hold it together for too long.
I picked the right night to quit sniffing glue. I can't. They got the playing. It's hilarious.
The glue truck just arrived.
Anyway, any thoughts of that? Which cracked me up, actually.
Well, that line, I remember that before because the people who say that Daniel was the real bully use that little clip. They're like, you see, Johnny wasn't a bad guy. He was turning a new leaf. You see,
turning a new leaf. Yeah, but not really. He talked about it, but not really.
No, but in the highlight reel, they can. Yeah, the magic of editing makes it look like, Johnny's the victim here.
Totally. So now Daniel goes and finds Mr. Miyagi to fix the faucet, right? Fix the faucet. That's an earlier scene, and they have that first encounter, and they moved in on a Saturday because Freddie invites him to go to the beach party the next day, which is Sunday, and the day after that is Monday, first day of school, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when Daniel comes home from school that first day, which was not a good day for him, and it wasn't a good night, he's got the shiner, Mr. Miyagi is working on the faucet. When he comes in, Daniel's practicing karate out of a book, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought, wow, it took Miyagi 2 days to come by and fix that faucet.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Now, maybe the South Seas is just riddled with lots of things. But he does seem like a guy who's on it, but it took him 2 days to wander upstairs to fix the leaky faucet. I never thought about that before.
No, but you know what? I'll have to imagine that he was waiting on a part. They ordered a part.
Well done. Yeah, I like that.
He was waiting on a part. The part finally came in, and then he could do it.
Which he had to go pick up because they didn't just deliver it. There was no Amazon.
No, there's no Amazon then. So, yeah, he had to go. He had a special order the part. Had to go down to the True Value hardware store.
Yeah.
Pick up the part, and then finally fix the sink.
So there you go. And he wasn't a strong driver because he usually make Daniel drive later. So yeah, it probably just was like, that's probably the scenario. He's not lazy. He just has to make a plan. So then we're back at that school. We've talked about this before, the school from the Karate Kid, which I have visited on a few occasions. I took Nico there. We walked around. I was always blown away by it because I was always blown away by these California schools that Lockers were outside. I didn't grow up with that. You can only do that for 6 months out of the year or half of the school year, but you did.
Yes.
But it's beautiful courtyard, looks just like it does in the movie to this day, but it's all fenced in, but you could see it. And there's a beautiful plaque. And the school I'm talking about is Charles Evans Junior High School. So it was a junior high school that they filmed at. They treated it as a high school. And it's at 5597 Capistrano Avenue, Woodland Hills, California, 91387. And it's also called Hughes Adult Learning Center. I'm saying this because the narrator also read this plaque that I saw on the school, and it's in the movie for a long shot. Easy to forget, but when you're listening, you're like, oh, wow, the narrator's reading the plaque. And I want you to read it. And I also, hopefully, this will sink in and give you the motivation to finally go by this location and do an on-location episode.
Well, now I'm wondering if this plaque, it might still be there.
It was there just 2 years ago.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, good. I got to go. This building dedicated to truth, liberty, toleration by the native sons of the Golden West. Andrew M. Stoto, Grand President, April 18, 1969.
So I started thinking, we talked about this beforehand. Is this that long shot? Is there like a theme here? Truth, liberty, toleration? I believe so.
Well, John G. Avildsen had it in there and left it in there for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it had some sort of significance or relevance.
Yeah, they didn't have to show it, and they have to hold it that long to let you read it. I think it definitely, maybe that was part of the stipulation of the school. Show this. Oh. Okay, well, it does have 3 key takeaways in there. Mm-hmm. I don't know what a grand president is, but I like it. Grand president.
Well, maybe like the Stotal Foundation or the Stotal Estate said, we got to have that plaque really highlighted.
Absolutely. So then Allie comes up to Daniel and drops the fact that she knows he's from Newark. And he's like, oh, you've been talking to people? And she's like, yeah. And I'm thinking, who's she talk to? I mean, maybe teachers know this, but we know Freddie knows where he's from, in all likelihood, because he's, first contact. Heck, Freddie Fernandez is Daniellaruso's first friend. We did an episode on this. Yep. Daniel's first friend, Freddie. So, great episode, by the way. We highly recommend it.
Fantastic episode.
The best. But it was interesting to me. Like, she didn't say names, but she was poking around, getting information, and used it that way. So, where's he from? What do you know? But, who would have known? In all likelihood, Freddie, in my mind. But I'm sure he's interacting with lots of people, and maybe she's like, hey, do you know that guy Daniel? And anyway.
Well, I'm going to assume, okay, from all we know and all we've talked about, Freddie gets around. He may be a gossiper. He may be an instigator.
Yeah.
He may be, talking after class or during class about this new kid or whatever. So maybe some word got around, and who else would it have been except for Freddie?
Yeah, he's like, hey, the Karate Kid, my friend, He's also quick to turn his back on a friend.
Yeah. Well, unless he wins a tournament, then he's back.
Oh, yeah, no, he's definitely fair weather, is what they would say. That's what we should work that into the title. Daniel's first friend, Freddie, first fair weather friend, Freddie Fernandez.
Freddie Fairweather. I like that.
We should probably start shirts.
Wait, Fairweather Freddie or Freddie Fairweather?
Fairweather Freddie, Freddie Fairweather. They're both great. Fairweather Freddie. I don't know. We're gonna have to workshop that. I like.
You know what? We could
Freddie
actually just create a whole new term, like, oh, that guy's a Fairweather Freddie. Don't mess with him.
I think Fairweather Freddie's better because it says it right away. He's a Freddie Fairweather. Fairweather Freddie. It's great. Let's run with it. Love it. Shirts. Okay. Next is more than one time in the movie, and I'm shocked this is never something we revisit. I do not recall it in the second movie, the second installment of The Karate Kid. I will have to go back and watch again. and maybe this way, the audio description, but Daniel's inner voice.
What?
He has this little thing, this little inner voice. And I don't mean inner voice like just keeps it inside. No, he expresses his inner voice in front of others sometimes, like Allie. So when she's explaining to him that her ex-boyfriend is, the karate guy, karate king, King Karate, Johnny, Daniel starts saying, oh, that's good to know. What? You're right. And she's like, what are you doing? And he's having this conversation with this other voice. And he references it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he did do that in this movie. And not just one time, several times. And he even references it like, oh, I'm just talking. So he's like basically saying this is a bad idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. But she's just right there. And he's like having this little moment just in front of her. So, but if it's something in his character, Sal, that easily could have made its way into Cobra Kai. Like, I shouldn't do this. Johnny's, we've grown. But he doesn't have those moments. He's usually talking to someone else. I don't recall it from Cobra Kai. I could be wrong. I haven't thought about this. But just today I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Yeah. So
it's almost like a personality quirk or a character quirk?
Yeah, something you've relied on. We all do it. I'm not saying he's weird. I'm not. I'm just saying we just never saw this thing happen elsewhere.
Well, no, but I mean, it's a personality trait that we don't see other characters in the series doing or the franchise doing. Only he would do it, right? Which is some sort of a personality quirk, which I think then they could have carried over and made it a more obvious part of his personality that would be continued to this day.
Something he relies on, like, oh, Amanda's mad at me. I mean, it's also for the camera, and it's for us. We've all done it. I mean, every once in a while you have a thought and you'll go ahead and express it out loud by yourself. Sure. I don't usually do it in front of someone else, but unless you're trying to make a point.
Sure.
But it happens 3 times in the movie, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's not just like he was trying to make a point to Allie. He does it. That's all I'm saying. Okay. It was a purposeful choice that just faded away at the end of the movie.
Yes. Nice.
So, interesting, right?
Yeah. I'm going to pay more attention. See, that's the thing, like you said, is that the audio description enhances everything else instead of detracting from everything else.
Exactly. Yeah. If it detracted, I probably wouldn't have done it or enjoyed it.
Sure.
So. I really hate this movie after the 50th viewing. This is just terrible. No. Okay, so this is cool. This deals with you. Cobra Kai Dojo. First time when Daniel goes in, as he's walking in, thinking he's going to go learn karate, and then he realizes it's the bullies that he runs from and gets beat up by. So the students do the usual Cobra Kai slogan, which is...
Strike first, strike hard, no mercy, sir.
They say sir.
Yes.
And on our first episode ever for Just Curious Media was the Karate Kid scene by scene breakdown. And we mentioned the slogan, and you said, I think it's strike first, strike hard, no mercy, sir. Oh, I threw the sir in there. So your mistake was actually spot on for the first time in the movie.
Yes, because
they don't
the first time we ever hear that. No, the first time we ever hear that, there is the sir on it.
Because he's running it more like a drill sergeant in this first indentation, his first version of the studio.
Repeat after me.
It's like, what do we study here? Wear the vest, or whatever it is. He has them chanting. So, and I've been to some dojos that you do say sir. Yes, sir. Others you say, yes, master. So it's totally in line, but they definitely got away from it on a consistent basis for Cobra Kai and the rest of the Karate Kids. But anyway, good callback, callback to you.
Yeah, I was a young man when we talked about that.
Yeah, you were very young. You had to get a note from your parents just to be on the episodes. Will there be cursing? So, Daniel's best friends. This is great. So, he's down and out, wanting to bail on where he's at. He's a little bit grumpy. You back and listen to this movie or watch it. Some people watch The Karate Kid. I choose to listen. And Daniel is a little bit, he's a little sourpuss at times. And, of course, his mom's like the exact opposite. But she's trying to pump him up. And she's like, you know that time you went to the country and met your best friends, Kevin and Kenny? You were great. You had such a great time. He didn't want to go. I guess maybe it was a retreat. Maybe it was summer camp. I don't know. But he met these two guys that became his best friends, Kevin and Kenny. Now, if you're not going to ever go back and reference the girls he said goodbye to in the beginning, which was Judy and Katie, at least give me a Kevin and Kenny reference, his best friends of all time at some point in his childhood. But I've not heard it. Maybe I missed it. Thoughts?
Well, the only other Kenny we ever hear about is obviously Kenny from the Cobra Kai series.
I don't think he meant him.
Yeah. So, well then, okay, look, if you're going to, why would they give Kenny the name Kenny when we have the name Kenny once in the original film then? You don't think any relationship, just total chance?
Oh, no relationship. That's total chance. Or it's an homage. But
I would say I always assume, and I know you and I have talked about this. Everything that we end up hearing or seeing is deliberate and was a choice. So if you give a character Kenny, as we know him in Cobra Kai series, there's no reason for him to be named Kenny. He could conceivably be named anything.
Kenny the Jet. Kenny's a fun name.
No, I don't think it could have been Philip. You know what I mean? It could have been anything.
Yeah, Philip sounds cool.
Yet here we have the name Kenny in the first episode. So the point is they either named Kenny on purpose, or forgot about this.
I think they forgot. Wow. I think it's easy to say, well, kids outgrow friends all the time. It's not surprising that he had a Kevin and Kenny and they could have lived in different states and they lose track. And I get that. And I'm not even saying we should, but it was a chance to at least do an Easter egg at some point in time. That's all I'm saying. Like another reference.
Bring everybody back. Remember, for us Cobra Kai fans, we want to bring everything back. We want to wrap everything up with a pretty bow.
You got 6 seasons.
Yeah,
we could have been another reference.
Okay, so what do we want? We want to see who's the next Karate Kid.
Hilary Swank?
Karate Kid. We want to see Hilary Swank. We want to see Kevin and Kenny. We want to see Freddie. We want to see everybody back who's ever mentioned, at least for a quick cameo.
Fairweather Freddie. We definitely
Fairweather Freddie to come by, at least a little nod. Maybe Daniel sees him. Maybe he nods at him, and we know, something.
Or it could have been something where a couple guys who work at LaRusso Auto are Kevin and Kenny. And no one ever talks about it. It's like, hey, man, great job there. And then it's like an Easter egg. Maybe that is the case. Maybe there is a name tag that I have overlooked because I was never looking for Kevin and Kenny. Nice. So, yeah, there you go.
I like it. No, I like that because what it is, you think of possibilities. You think of revisitations that could occur. Or they will never never occur, and they just threw them out there, and we're never going to have any resolution. My point is, bring back every name so we can have some sort of resolution. Every character so we can have some sort of resolution. Otherwise, they're going to be sort of these just loose ends. Yeah. And you're such you go forensic. Yeah, so here we have these little clips, these little sound bites. You're like, wait a second, who are these people?
It could be something so little where it's like, auto detailing by Kevin and Kenny. It could be a throwaway thing for the super fan that I might connect now because I listened to the movie.
I like it. Like Kevin and Kenny burgers or something like that.
Yeah, something,
Yeah, I like it.
So next, a little note that I made was Daniel's inner voice is back. They're at the restaurant where his mother, Lucille, works, right by the dojo. At least one of the locations for the Cobra Kai dojo, the one on Wilshire and Cloverdale, which I used to live on Cloverdale, so go figure. It blew me away that I lived a block or two away from one of the spots. But it was just an exterior, by the way. He is talking to his mother about Allie. She's talking about being a blonde, if you remember this sequence. And he starts to talk to himself again, like, oh, yeah, no, she's hot, yeah, meaning Allie, as the mother walks away. So he's kind of he's just doing that usual bit, which he leans into 3 times in this movie. So again, that's why I just made a note, like, yeah, there it is. It's not just a one-off. It's a few times. So it means Daniel has this. He doesn't have any siblings. He's lost his father. So he's probably done this outer inner voice thing throughout his teenage years and maybe before.
Let me ask you this question, Jason. Do you think that this inner voice, which, I've never pondered for our character here, do you think that was scripted, or do you think that was maybe an acting device employed by a young Macchio?
It could have been. They could have said, hey, that works. Yeah, maybe he was like, I need to say something here. I want to express this. And I think it's fine. It is. It gives you one more thing. Like, she's hot. It's kind of funny. It's showing him vulnerable, and he's considering both sides of things. And, I don't think it's a bad thing by any means. It could have been his idea. It could have been Kamen's. It could have been Avildsen's. A combination of them. But I'm just curious where it went. That's all. I still do certain things that I did as a kid. Not all. You might outgrow this. And I'm sure they discussed it on the show. Like, he probably wouldn't be doing that anymore. Okay, move on. And a show, you have a lot more characters and a lot shorter scenes, and Daniel doesn't carry the show. So I get it. But I don't remember it from The Karate Kid Part 2. It could have been there. I'd have to go and watch it again or listen to it.
You'd have to listen to The Karate Kid Part 2.
That's when you really hear. Anyway, so there was that. There's one more reference, but I don't even think I bring it up because I've made my point. I rest my case. So this is a small thing. I'm listening, and Johnny is playing with a skeleton leg at school. It's the same shot. He's in the background. The foreground is Ali blowing up a balloon, like an orange balloon, I guess getting ready for the dance. Getting ready for the dance tonight, huh? Oh, B.D. Wong. What'd you say, Sal?
Coming to the dance tonight.
Coming to the dance tonight. That's the next installment of Karate Kid. But you see Johnny in the background, headphones on, cool jacket, picking up the skeleton, playing with its leg. And I was like, that's interesting, because... What were their costumes at the Halloween dance?
Yeah, skeletons.
Super cool.
So it's like a foreshadow.
And it's so little, but the narrator says, that he's playing with a skeleton leg. And I was like, that's so rando.
Interesting.
That I had to at least voice it here.
You know what it also reminds me of, and I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, but you know the old argument, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Yeah, Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Oh, I have friends that will swear by that.
Okay.
Brian Beasley will swear to that.
Okay. Well then, Brian, let me ask you, is The Karate Kid a Halloween movie?
Well, no, because it spans more than just Halloween.
Okay, so if it were just Halloween night, it would be a Halloween movie. Die Hard was the Christmas night?
But it's just
Christmas
in that,
Eve.
Yeah, it's Eve, and it's all contained. Again,
okay, how about Gremlins?
Yeah, you can make an argument. There's a lot of Christmas, for sure.
But it's it's not Christmas night or Christmas Eve in Gremlins.
Yeah, but it is definitely considered a dark Christmas movie.
Okay.
I would say that.
It's almost like, I'm just saying, when it comes to Halloween, I guess my second point is, if you're going to put Halloween in a movie, like, what was the point of having it in the movie? They could have just had a costume party. It didn't need to be a Halloween event. It could have just been a costume ball, right?
Yeah,
but they made it Halloween.
Well, they tried to go through the timeline because the tournament is in early December, mid-December.
Seasonal.
They tried to do season and show the school year is moving on.
I see. They're going through the school year. I see. Yeah. So Halloween is a part of the school year.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it was an opportunity for a cool costume, and not just a cool costume, but legendary.
At this point, iconic. They have a Johnny Lawrence action figure in the skeleton costume. So definitely iconic.
So anyway, a little foreshadowing there. I thought it was cool. And I also said rando. I've never said that, but I kind of liked it. But I meant random, of course, for those listening. So anyway, so now this is a scene that made me laugh. I don't know why. So Mr. Miyagi, to this point in time, well, he's definitely warmed up to Daniel. When Daniel gets, knocked off the bike and he fixes it, then and he's crying to his mom about, I want to go home. That's when Mr. Miyagi had a soft spot, right? You know it. He listens, and he's a man of few words, Mr. Miyagi. And then they start to bond, and then he, jumps over the fence like a karate expert, like the karate expert he is, saves the day, heals him. So they're buddies, right? But for a long time in the movie, he's a man of few words. Hey, he asks him questions, and that's the answer he gets. Mm-hmm. This scene, just listening, struck me funny. Okay, I was gonna cue it up, but I don't want to. I'll just save it for anybody who wants to go there. But Mr. Miyagi becomes a little bit of a chatty Cathy in this scene, and I never noticed it before. So he comes in, and it's right before the Halloween dance. He comes in, and I'm not gonna try to do the accent. I just want to speak the dialogue.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe I should do a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, remember, hang on. Morita did the accent. So Morita can do the accent, you can do the accent.
Oh, Danielson, happy Halloween. You like? How's school today? Oh, lots happening. What's the matter? You not going? How come? Oh, Danielson, you too much self. Not good. So he's rattling these things off like his cadence. I'm like, I had to back it up, Sal. Like, hold on. They gave him so much dialogue in this little sequence. That's not who he is, but he's just like, he's like, hey, I'm a man about town. This is my buddy. He's coming in with a jack-o'-lantern, and yeah, he's on. How's school? How's this? Like, that's so out of character, but when you see the motions and you see Daniel and he's kind of back down in the dumps because he doesn't want to go to the dance. So we had to have high energy to offset his low energy. I get it. He's like, all of a sudden, Mr. Miyagi's, basically Lucille in this scene. Mm-hmm. For the most part.
No,
he changes near the end, but go on.
But you know what I'm reminded of by this very scene is an expression I've been saying for a while now, something to the effect of, don't get an introvert talking. Like, no one talks more than an introvert once you get them going. And so I feel like that's funny. Yeah, that's what happens here. It's like he had a little moment, and therefore he's going and going and going.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, okay. Well, he's normally not like this.
I think you just described me.
Maybe, yeah. I've noticed that. I have.
In me?
Get an introvert going. No, not about you necessarily. Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I consider you an introvert, though.
Well, it's funny. I've been asked that for so long, and people who know me in settings like, sports or just be around lots of people or running an event, it's like, oh, he's obviously an extrovert, life of the party. But that's not necessarily true.
Sure.
I need to be out there and then back recharging, doing my thing. Yeah. So I would say I'm an introvert who has extrovert tendencies.
Yes.
But a very good point there.
Yeah. Then you need to go back to the lion's den afterward.
I have to go plug in my phone. But that said, great point. That's what happens here. I think he is taking the Lucille role because it's kind of funny. He's even saying things like, now he's up on his schoolhouse today. It's like, ba, 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 ba. Yeah. But the scene goes on. And he makes that great line after this about how, you're supposed to go after another young person and not be around some old prune like myself. So it's funny. It's great. It's on point. It's poetic. Mm-hmm. But the first part cracks me up. He's coming in, like, hey, how's school? How's that? Who you dating? Like, really? He's up in all the gossip all of a sudden? So I laughed out loud.
Jason, there is one more thing I just realized. On one hand, I could brush it off as, you get the introvert going. But the other thing you and I have not considered is that maybe at this very moment, Miyagi's a little buzzed.
Oh, for sure.
He could have put a few back before this.
Oh, you mean like buzzed on drinks? Oh,
yeah. Remember, we saw the most extreme example when he's in the uniform and he's
I think he saves that for nights.
Okay,
I think he's responsible.
I don't know.
I think he's buzzed because on a natural high.
He's high on life.
He's got a friend, and he's got this, like, back to what I said early on. This is more like a son. Mm. And I think it's more that pure, that pureness coming through. That's what I think. I just found it funny that it was just bop, 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 bop. I'm sure they talked about it like, is this on script for Miyagi? Oh, yeah, but the movement, there's flow. He's moving. He's doing stuff, and Daniel's down. So I get it, but it's funny. So I should just cue it up, but the episode will go on forever. So, and it's a beautiful scene. Next, another funny reference here. We talk about it all the time, but we hear this. We know it well, but I still laughed, and I got the price this time. But when Daniel asked him what belt he is, and of course, it's canvas, JCPenney, $3.98. Now, I know this was shot in '83, but that's a pretty inexpensive belt.
Well, we haven't done an inflation calculator on the cost of the belt. What is $398 in today's dollars from 84?
I don't know. We'd have to do it. I don't know. Can you do it real quick?
All right.
Is it a $50 belt?
Inflation calculator. There we go.
Carry the one.
Okay, so
this is a real-time inflation calculator. Sal Rodriguez is factoring a belt from JCPenney in 1983 for $3.98 would be...
Almost there, 1983.
Almost there.
Okay, so $3.98 in 1983 in 2023 dollars is $12.49.
Oh, wow. I was way off my $50.
Okay, well, I will have you know this. Speaking of, since we're on the topic, I just bought a belt at Ross, which is a discount chain.
Yeah, it's like a JCPenney.
Yeah, I got a pretty nice belt. Reversible. Every guy's got to have the reversible belt, right?
Is it canvas?
Brown. It's not canvas, but brown on one side, black on the other. Beautiful belt.
Wow, you could fight in All Valley in '84.
Yeah, it's a black belt. It was around $11, I think. So around 11. So yeah, wow. Totally makes sense.
You pulled a Miyagi. No, but this tournament was for brown and black. It was open, so you could do either. You could fight brown and you could fight the black.
All right, just go to Ross.
It doesn't matter. Just go to Ross. Well, there you go. So next, this is something I learned from the audio description, the narrator themselves. They were talking about Miyagi's house as they drove up to it. You remember the oil? I called them derricks, but derricks are actually the thing that, like they kind of pull things out of the ground, where the little oil rigs like this.
Yes. As a kid, I always thought they looked like mosquitoes. I always thought they looked like mosquitoes going up and down like that.
Well, you know what they called it on the description?
Yes.
Horsehead oil pumps.
Interesting.
And I thought, wow, I never described them that way, because they are the oil pumps and the horse head. And I looked that up, and it's definitely been used in other places. Yes. So there you have it.
So I used to imagine that head was like a mosquito head, but the pump's on the other end.
Yes, yeah.
That's just the other end of the pump. Yeah, so to me, it looked like a mosquito head, but the pump's happening on the other side. Yeah, that's right.
There you have it.
Interesting. Okay, I like it.
Next small thing, at the actual dance, at the
Halloween dance.
Because I think these things are in order. Daniel, in shower costume, says to Allie, "Don't you know when you make a wish in a shower, it always comes true?"
What?
I thought, man, listen to that. I don't think I ever listened to that line and just took it in before. So we take showers every day, or we should, or baths. So now think about that. And Sal, make a wish in your shower.
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to
do it. I will absolutely do it and see if it comes true. I've thought about doing like if you could actually do a survey of everyone in the world. You do a survey of everyone in the world and ask about their birthday wishes, birthday cake wishes, or ask people about their shooting star wishes and create a log of the wishes that have actually come true and the ones that have not come true. And I would like to do the same for this wishing in the shower. See,
I think you'd have a lot of disappointed people in your book.
Well, Daniel's pretty smooth because he's making up like an anecdote on the spot to try to seduce Allie.
Yeah, and it works.
Yeah, he's good.
It works. I will say on wishes and hopes and dreams and such, any time that I have had laser focus and just thought about something and manifested on it, or I manifested it into my life, like the big ones, I have to say that it wasn't just, oh, I hope I get that. No, I had to be obsessive about it.
Sure.
And I had to sometimes take steps to do it. Like, okay, I'm going to have to do this to get there. But anything I just had to have, I can't tell you how many times that came true. So, wasn't a lot, but it was the big stuff.
But when you decided you had to have it, were you in the shower?
Always. Bathing.
There you go.
No, I was not. Nakedly bathing. Next, funny scene. We've both been to this location. The Allie Mills household over there in Encino. You did an episode from there.
Yep.
I've been by there several times. I took my cousin by there. because he loves the movie. We watched The Karate Kid together for the first time, so we kind of had that shared experience. And I drove him by, and he was like, that was the coolest thing. Because it's really great when you can see it, because it looks the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being, Mr. and Mrs. Mills must have been absolutely mortified when the LaRusso's car stalled. And they had to they had to see Allie pop the clutch.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that on this listening, and that's pretty good, was because it's like, they're judging Daniel, and their daughter is upper crust, and he's from Reseda.
Sure.
Got that. But I started thinking, oh, wow, that neighborhood's very tight-knit. A high-end, respectable people in their community who is picking up their prized possession, their daughter, in a car, and she's popping the clutch. I'm sure they were mortified. I'm sure they got questions, people looking out the window. I never just thought about that before, but I thought about it this time.
Well, gossip at the country club.
Totally. Yeah, because the country club played into it. She's dancing with him, and it's like, wow, they really are waspy, white waspy folks. What's that?
Do you know what's going on with the Mills girl?
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly how that would go. Yeah. I saw her popping the clutch the other night, and some kid from Reseda's station wagon.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Honey. Oh, that's hilarious. So anyway, I just cracked up, and and they had to see. So let me write this down. Okay.
Now, I would have been very impressed if that were my daughter, just for the sake that my daughter knew how to do that. Yeah, I'm very impressed by when people know how to do stuff. Cleverness, kids doing adult stuff that's cool and neat. So if my daughter could have went out there, popped that clutch, and done it right, I would have been like, hell yeah, geez, I don't even know how to do that. And yet she knows how to do that. That's awesome.
Well, Sal, this is not a knock on you by any means.
Yes.
But you're no Mr. Mills.
No, I'm not.
It's like Thurston Howell from Gilligan's Island. Wobby,
Yes.
I don't mean that bad. You could play him. You could easily be that guy for a show, a movie, commercial, whatever. But he is just another, waspy guy. Doesn't want anything to do with anybody below their status.
And the richer you are, the more highbrow you are, the more unimpressed you are by everything.
Oh, totally. Yes. Pumping the clutch. So, all right, moving on. Now, this right here, I'm going in order. There's only a few left, but this one, Sal, this is the one that brought my listening to a screeching halt. And I had to think about it. And I have a revelation here. Oh. And this is when Mr. Miyagi shares what happened to his wife and unborn child.
Yes.
Devastating. Powerful. And listening to it was like, oh my gosh. And then when he had his drunken outburst, which those scenes they're not like necessarily right there because he shares what happened, this beautiful component. That's when he drank a lot and just started kind of unravel a little bit, a little unhinged. And I'm hearing things in that sequence I hadn't really heard because you're looking at him and Daniel's reaction, and because it's not the birthday night. These are different sequences, but it's that alone was powerful because you hear him mutter things I just never really listened to. So that I encourage anybody to, if you're not going to do the whole movie, spot check. Anything Miyagi's in, there's no surprise, no shock to me that he was nominated for an Oscar after this listening. But this particular scene, when he shares what happened to them, before Daniel reads it, but he shares this one line that I was just floored by. And I've heard it so many times, but I really heard it this time. And when he says, first American-born Miyagi waiting to be born. If there's anything that the showrunners could do for the legacy of this series, franchise, all of that, make that happen. Somehow, some way, could we get a first American-born Miyagi?
Oh, I thought you were getting at telling the showrunners to make it so that Miyagi's son didn't ever actually die.
No. That happened.
Okay.
I'm saying this was Miyagi's dream to be his son for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. But the world is still waiting for the first American-born Miyagi to be born.
Whoa. Nice.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, oh my God. And these guys obsess like us. So.
Yeah, but who's in the Miyagi bloodline right now?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you'd have to probably take some liberties.
Yeah.
And that would be a jumping off point for something, either in Cobrakai, as we know it, for season 6, or outside of it as part of a spinoff. Now, we all want the Miyagi show, or the Miyagi show, well, that would end before the Karate Kid. So that's a different entity, and I think that also is in their legacy. That's something beautiful and just a prequel. But I think this, just him voicing this, sharing this, and knowing that we don't have this in our bloodline, it just intrigued me.
Wow. Also very touching, you know. I mean,
touching.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm kind of beside myself on this one.
Yeah, because I started thinking like, wow, you know, you have obviously Chosen, but that's not his last name.
No.
Because he comes from Sato.
Sure.
Right, his bloodline, his uncle, he's the nephew. But there are other people. You know, we have brought back Luna and other people from the past. So just, I don't know. But it's intriguing to me. I'd love to see it happen. If done right and handled right, it would be beautiful.
No, I like it. And it's a very strong statement to never have been revisited at all.
Ever.
And this is only the first time that you and I are throwing it around. So, yeah, very
right.
interesting.
Yeah, because when you're watching those scenes, you're caught up in the emotion. You listen, but you're also watching. And, you know, I guess that's why I'm talking about. It made me stop and take notice of things that are right there in front of your face.
Mm-hmm. And we also don't know, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but this American-born Miyagi waiting to be born, do we know if that's a boy or girl?
I thought it was a son.
Just because of the whole storyline, or are we?
Oh no, I thought Miyagi lost a son.
He did say that.
Yeah, I thought they knew the sex.
I think you're right that we thought that, but I wonder if they ever really disclosed that, or we just
here you go.
That.
I listened to it today.
Yeah,
I'm making notes. This impacted me greatly. A few scenes did, and I could have still missed something. Because when you're dealing with audio, let me tell you right now, you've got to like listen, and if you get distracted, there's no video reference to it, right? It's like, oh wait, what did he say exactly? Because I didn't have closed caption on and do it. I just walked away and walked around and was listening. So we'd have to get confirmation on that. I always assumed it was a son, but it could have just been a false assumption. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe we assumed it was a boy just because of the relationship with Daniel. But I don't know
this
if
has no bearing.
Know the gender. Yeah.
Either way, I just want to see a first American-born Miyagi, male or female, whatever, doesn't matter. I just would love to see this happen. And I'm sure they've talked about it. Yeah. Can we do this? Is this possible? Does this make sense with this show? You know, it's definitely...
You're assuming that the showrunners, that our showrunners, have forensically dissected the movies as much as you have or more.
Yeah, well, they have teams of people working with them. I am just one man. A really good man.
We got no Kevin and Kenny, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really good. I'd be their top guy. You know, I'd be the fourth of the three heads, but I'm sure they've discussed it. These guys are all bright. They're all successful. Well, I'm sure someone said, can we do this?
Okay, so what happens is then that the showrunners go back in time, they dissect everything, and they go, and it's like a this tidbit, nope, this tidbit, yes, this tidbit, nope, this tidbit, yes, and they're picking and choosing, and they're leaving stuff. They are essentially leaving loose ends.
Yeah,
but I guess it's inevitable. You can't cover everything, right?
They have those little things on the board. Kevin and Kenny, out.
Kevin and Kenny are out. Sorry.
Do we bring back Fairweather Freddy? Maybe. That's a maybe. Do we bring back Hilary Swank? They brought back Mike Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, they brought back Allie Mills.
It's in the Miyagi-verse. Because
they brought back Mrs. Mills, although it's a different actress. But whatever. All right, so last few.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Miyagi in his baseball gear, training Daniel, which is funny. One time we had a discussion about Mr. Miyagi. Was he an baseball player? Was he a minor leaguer? Why does he have all this great, these outfits? He has got the whole wardrobe for baseball.
Yeah, baseball gear, yeah.
But he's training Daniel to punch, and he says, "What's the matter? You some kind of girl or something?" Because Daniel was timid. Well, and Mr. Miyagi would probably eat those words by the next Karate Kid when that came around.
Oh,
right? Because
nice.
Julie Pierce wouldn't have dug that. Also, probably wouldn't have said that in today's day and age. But
no, you know what they could have done though,
Jason?
They should have used this very line. They should have used this very scene in the trailer for Karate Kid, for the next Karate Kid.
Yeah, agreed.
That's what they could have done.
And they could have just redubbed his line if they ever felt like it was crossing the line, like Randee Heller style. What are you, some kind of weak guy?
Yeah.
Or weakling? Some kind of weakling or something? But they left some kind of girl. You hear these lines now where it's like, ooh, people do get very offended these days. Everyone's hypersensitive. But even I am like, I cringe a little. Like, yeah, you wouldn't write that now. But
especially knowing what we know now today about martial arts, there's plenty of girls
totally.
I would not want to go toe-to-toe with.
Even that aside, it just doesn't. I'm not dissing Mr. Miyagi or patmorita. It's just like, ooh, I heard that louder than I've ever heard it today. That's all.
So in other words, a line that doesn't age very well.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And thank goodness there was only, really one of them. There were some other lines I didn't care for, but it didn't cross the line. And
remember, there was some racist stuff from Kreese.
Oh, no.
Right?
No,
that hasn't aged well either. But the only reason that has aged well is because it showed the character, right? It shows the character is what it does.
Well, Larry Drake, Yahoo #1, gives a racial slur when they come up with the bottles. And so I didn't mention that. But yeah, there are some of those lines. But that was going on then. And it probably still goes on today, of course. But we don't need to, glorify it.
No, but in Miyagi's defense and in Robert Mark Kamen's defense, we grew up and you would say something like, you hit like a girl, you throw like a girl.
I know.
Sure. Yeah, we said it. Yeah, we said it. I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
But that was something that the kids would say on the school grounds. Sure.
Yep. Well, they never say about me, but that's all.
No.
So next, Mr. Miyagi, he's showing this to Daniel. He's giving him the gi, the beautiful Miyagi-Do gi with the logo on it. And Miyagi says, "Mrs. Miyagi make a long time ago." I'm like, whoa, hang on a second. I knew this, but what? Did she create the logo or make the gi or both? So I wasn't sure, but I just love that he's referencing Mrs. Miyagi, and then she made this, and he is passing this on to Daniel. Again, it's not new to me, but it's just kind of like, whoa, that is heavy.
Yeah,
and
she's like
did
the Betsy
she make
Ross.
the logo?
She's the Betsy Ross of the Miyagi.
She's the Betsy Ross of exactly.
Wow, I like that. Yeah, and now I'm wondering more about Mrs. Miyagi. Did she know any martial arts?
We need to know more. They talk about it in this movie, and the second movie we're talking about Mr. Miyagi's first love.
Yes,
Yukie, right? So, which is beautiful, and I'm glad she existed. But they could have also had a scene in the Karate Kid Part 2 talking about whom he met, whom he married, what happened. I would have retreaded that, but that's just me.
No, this will have to come out in the prequel. In the Miyagi prequel, I would imagine these things will be addressed. Yeah, we'll learn more about what led him to that point.
Yeah, when we get it, because it's coming. Because it's
in
coming.
2025, 2026.
All right, so, when Allie was a translator to the All Valley staff member at the karate tournament, they go in and he, oh no, this is my translator. She says to the staff member about Mr. Miyagi, he says you remind him of an uncle from Tokyo. And they laugh and then move on, right? And then no one corrects her. that he's not from Tokyo. He's from Okinawa.
Oh yeah. No. She just made that up on the spot.
I know, but I know she did. But nobody's like, fast to correct her, or why didn't she just say Okinawa? Maybe that's too obscure. They only just met.
Tokyo's
Keep that in mind. They'd only just met. I've always wanted to see how they met, because only time we see them together, the first time anyway, is when they're checking in at All Valley and they steal the black belt. They must have
you say Miyagi meeting Ali.
Miyagi and Ali, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, Miyagi and Ali met off camera.
Yes.
Before that event. Because
Sure.
he saw a photo of her and said, I didn't know you had a sweetie. She's pretty. You guys look good together.
Yes.
They hadn't met. All of a sudden they're together and they're stealing black belts from people. But I wonder, he might have said, oh, by the way, I'm from Okinawa. But throwaway line, she says Tokyo. She could have said Japan. They probably talked about it. Okinawa would have been too on point. How would she have known unless she asked Daniel? So it's just funny that was in there. And I thought, oh, okay, that kind of stood out to me. It's nothing, but it just kind of was something I wrote down.
Yeah, no, I like it. No, Tokyo is the most famous. So I would imagine, a teenager may just throw that out there and try to do their improvisational line just to say.
Yeah, she didn't say China. Yeah,
No.
she didn't screw up.
No.
From Thailand. No, she's in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, and it sounds realistic. Where the staff member's probably like, "Oh, really? That's cool."
Yeah, he even talks about Japan and Tokyo when he's explaining where Okinawa is.
Nice.
So, all right, then the narrator says this at the end of the movie. Daniel executes a perfect crane kick to Johnny's face.
Nice.
And there is no debate that he did a crane kick to the face, which we know wasn't necessarily legal, but it was accepted, and thus we have Daniel winning his first All Valley Karate Championship.
So wait a second, Jason. There is one more thing, and I know you mentioned it earlier, but not in this exact context.
Please.
Does our British female narrator voice say, and Johnny hands this trophy to Daniel?
Yes.
She does. Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Johnny is also referenced as John in the tournament at some point. John Lawrence, which we've talked about that before, actually.
Wait, who mentions him?
John, the announcer
Tex.
says that. Well, yeah, but off camera, I
Okay,
think
so a
pretty sure
VO
it's
text says
Yeah,
John
like,
Lawrence.
John Lawrence.
Okay,
I was like, oh, that's funny. We've heard that. We've heard Kreese call him John before. But
well, hang on. Let me just do a little revisit to the AI thing, Jason.
Please.
If indeed this is an AI voice, if indeed it is, then you can take a voice and turn it into a long-form voice, meaning you can take the original Tex actor, take his voice samples, turn it into a voice, and have Tex narrate the Karate Kid motion picture. You could conceivably have anybody do the narration.
Yeah, Daniellaruso's gonna fight. Daniel LaRusso, Mr. Miyagi's got chopstick and he's trying to catch a fly. I would have liked to hear that version. That would be interesting. That might be a bit annoying. That might be a bit heavy.
Johnny plays with a skeleton leg in the background.
Daniel executes a perfect crane kick to Johnny's face.
See,
all right.
I think our listeners learned by now that in a sense I have a very much a love-hate relationship with AI. I'm terrified at the possibilities, but I also revel in the possibilities. I mean, you can do anything at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you can hold two different ideas in your head at the same time, and they can be, counterbalance each other.
Well, it's kind of the way I feel about a lot of things. Everything's a pie chart.
Okay.
Good and bad. You have bigger portions of the pie chart. Humans, cities, your own life, whatever. Everything can be put onto a pie chart as far as percentages.
So I would probably venture to say it's safe to assume that you have a love-hate relationship with lots of things.
Well, I do, but the good news is some are more love.
Okay, good.
It might be 20% hate, but 80% love overshadows 20% hate.
That's true.
So yeah,
Well,
I have a love-hate relationship with, let's say, technology, as you and I have talked before. But luckily, it's like 80% love and 20% hate. So it's enough love to keep me going.
That's fine.
But it's a 20% hate, which frustrates me. You know?
I'm probably more like a 95.5.
95.5, but that's a lot of love. You have more love for technology than I do. I have less love, but it's enough love.
I hear you. I like it. We'll get the love meter out, and we'll check everything. So the last note I have is the narrator does say, Johnny gives Daniel the trophy.
Nice.
Right, that's happening. And then you hear AI or not, whatever you want it to be. So, of course, we know the famous line. Please go ahead and give us the first famous line, the big one.
You're right, LaRusso.
Okay, so that's the big takeaway. We got, Freddie Fernandez is trying to squeeze in there, Fairweather Freddie and his other friends. But then I hear Johnny clearly say, good match.
Did not ever hear that.
I know. It's like...
It's always been there?
Maybe this version throws in new stuff, like a TV edit throws in scenes like, I never saw this scene before. So maybe, but I'm pretty sure no, but he does say good match. I'm like, wow.
No,
that's
you know what?
Cool.
You mentioned it, Jason. There is a third line that we only learned about recently. He says, you're right, LaRusso. Good match. See you at golf and stuff. That's what
golf and stuff, yeah. Golf and stuff was real big on getting plugged.
I don't remember that, Johnny saying that.
I never remember that. That is so weird. Let's go get a beer. What? I'll see you in the showers before I'm about to get killed by senseikreese.
No.
Wow.
You're all right, LaRusso. Good match. I'll be backstage putting on my skeleton costume.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, am I in the sequel? What if it was like so meta, it wasn't even Johnny, it was williamzabka sneaking a line in there? Am I going to be in the next one? What the hell is he talking about?
Oh.
Like in Star Wars when Mark Hamill, Luke, is coming down a very, the end of the movie, I think it was Mark Hamill. Yeah. And he says, Carrie Fisher. Princess Leia. There's all this pandemonium. They're all excited. They're jubilation. And he's like, Carrie! And he's calling her by her real name. And they kept it in Star Wars.
They left it in?
They left it in.
What?
Carrie!
How do they justify leaving that in?
Well, it's probably not in the other cuts when Lucas, he changed that. But it was in there. It's like, oh, that's so funny. He was calling her by her real name. Yeah, that's hilarious. So, yeah, that kind of thing that they live in there. Well, that would be great if it existed. Anyway, so that is it. That
Jason,
was the
man,
audio
I got to
description.
Tell you, this has been honestly a real amazing episode.
Yes!
Another episode. We've never done one like this before.
No, no one has.
Well, it's like, talk about like precision filleting open of things. I really like it. I really like it a lot. I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to hearing the audio description of this film, The Karate Kid, and others.
And listen to this episode of Let's Talk Cobrakai about the audio description.
We got to match them together. We got to match this episode with the motion picture.
Yeah, we could be an add-on. Or you can listen to the alt track, which is a podcast that covers the... Okay, all right, sure. I like
Let's
it.
put our voices in at the All Valley.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, man, let's do it. Let's do it.
We'll be like, that was an illegal kick.
Yeah, put him in a body bag. What's the cream puff? Yeah, that's right. Someone calls Johnny a cream puff. You're a cream puff. I just love to throw these lines in there.
No, then you can have your own rebuttals like, hey, Johnny's not a cream puff.
I'll show you a cream puff.
I'll see you after the event.
That is it, Sal. We did it. The Karate Kid 1984 audio description. I highly recommend fans, lovers of the movie, or our podcast, do this deep dive. Look on Netflix. Look on Amazon Prime. I know it's on Apple. If you rent it or buy it, you just got to go to languages and AD. It goes by AD.
Nice.
It can't write the whole thing out. Audio description. Some movies, it's not as pleasant of a narrator. That happens. Preferences being what they are.
Sure.
But I really enjoyed it, and I will be doing the Karate Kid Part 2, Sal, and we'll see how that one goes. And if I learn some nuggets, we'll come back and do that episode. So you should do the same. You should do the first 2 at least.
No, I agree. I will definitely do the first. If I am so moved, I will definitely do the second. But yeah, I'm like it. I'm excited. I'm excited to give it a listen. So yeah, definitely going to do that very soon.
All right. So thank you so much for listening. And please be sure to subscribe to the Let's Talk Cobrakai podcast and the Let's Talk Cobrakai YouTube live channel. You can also really help us by giving the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast.
And for all you listeners that enjoy sharing your thoughts, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, send us a direct message, or post a comment on any Let's Talk Cobrakai social media platform.
We also highly recommend checking out our other podcast and visiting justcuriousmedia.com.
No mercy.